Hi, Christian.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Thank you. Everything is good.
Good. Yeah, everything's good.
Do you go to the practice of basketball every day or not? It is off. Your camp
Um,
is off or no? Regular practice for basketball.
what's up? Oh, right now?
These days.
Um, for Tuesdays, yeah, we pretty much practice like every day.
Hmm. Because everything is off and a lot of people don't go to the regular practices like in indoor practices, not outdoor.
Yeah. Um,
Also, you can do it outdoor.
ah, bad for the knees.
Have you sent your case study?
I haven't.
Okay, good.
Not gonna lie. Um, I'm actually finishing it up.
Yeah. Um, when do you graduate, undergraduate, when it is finish your courses?
Uh, next April 2022.
Oh,
So like, yeah,
so it is the last year.
yeah.
Very good. What's your plan for the future?
Um, don't know yet. Obviously be a business owner one day. Hopefully, but we'll see what happens.
In which field? Is there any specific field do you want to enter?
Um, not necessarily. Kind of thinking about like personal training,
Oh, so
stuff
good.
like that. Yeah. So we'll see what happens though. Just kind of taking, kind of experimenting too, because
Mm.
I'm kind of young, I guess. So kind of looking at different options and stuff like that.
So personal training is so good. Do you have any experience to training,
Um,
training you as a coach?
I do like I've trained some like kids in the past, so I
Mm-hmm.
do kind of know what I'm doing. Um, so I mean, also personal training is kind of like a I want to say like you kind of like test it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's experience based, so like you kind of have to like try things and like you can be able to be creative with your workouts and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the reason why I like it. So
So very good. Everybody needs a personal trainer.
right. Yeah, that's very true. So,
All types
uh,
of coaching is growing so fast.
yeah,
All types of coaching: sports
yeah,
coaching, life coaching, executive coaching, business coaching, sales coaching. Even in these days, I have seen a lot of spiritual even coaching. Spiritual
yeah.
coaching.
Wow.
All
Oh,
types of
yeah, yeah,
coaching is growing fast.
yeah. So that and sports psychology is growing very fast too.
Yeah.
Like a psychiatrist or something like that. Not psychiatrist. Um, what's it called? Um, it's another word for a sports therapist. Those are very growing very fast too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Sports psychology
yes,
is from 1970s or 1980s, from the
yeah,
Olympic about 4 decades ago. This is a very specific field of psychology, so-called sports psychology. And it's very
mm,
money maker, very, very money maker.
yeah,
Especially in America and Europe, it's very money maker.
yeah. So
But I love it. Have you studied your leadership course? It's so good. It's very important for you if you want to be a good personal trainer. The knowledge is very important in leadership. Very,
yeah,
the
uh,
modern leadership is very important. Ancient leadership and old-fashioned leadership, it is not so important. It's charismatic and personality based. But now
mm,
these days, especially after COVID, it is very important to have a good knowledge, a good skill knowledge-based skills to leadership. Except of that, we cannot grow up good in your proficiency, every type of proficiency.
Mm.
How old
Yeah,
are
no,
you?
22.
22, yeah. That's a good time for entering your professional business, especially with your body and your science of a sport. Do you play basketball
Yeah, I do.
professionally? Are you professional?
Nah, not yet, but I want to.
Yeah.
It's one thing I want to do. So we'll see what happens though.
You should increase your speed because it is 22 and the last years of to be professional as a player, yes, it's good. But if you want to be a professional, you should go around so faster in your life.
Yeah.
About 22, 23, and it's very good job. Very, very good job.
Yeah.
And also in America, I think it's a lot of customers, a lot of clients you can have as a professional player.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have seen your basketball salon. It is very good in the
Thank
campus.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Chris showed me the basketball salon before COVID, and it was
Uh-huh.
very good and very huge, very modern and very clean, very very clean. I
Yeah.
was shocked.
Yeah, no, definitely appreciate it. We're trying. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, it's a
We're
good
trying.
motivating force.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the course until the next students come, and I will talk with you about the course. It's a private teaching today for you. What's your definition of change?
Change.
Yeah,
Um,
can you define change?
change is like, I would say like, I guess like a shift in like a way of doing something, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it could be positive or negative. You know what I'm saying? So um I guess like a positive change.
Mm-hmm.
An example of like a positive change would be like um making the earth more greener or recycling more.
Mm-hmm.
But a negative change would be like um what's a negative change?
For
Um
example, old aging is a negative change or not?
oh yeah it depends on how
Aging.
you look at it.
Hmm.
Because some people
How can you
like
look at the positive aging as a positive change? How can you look at the aging as a positive change?
um I guess you're showing like wisdom, like you're gonna get more wisdom as you grow older.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
You're gonna get, I guess, more experience or more like be wiser with what you do because through your
Yes.
experiences. So
Yes.
I guess that's a positive, but a negative may like a positive could be like probably the mental and the spiritual, but your
Yeah.
negative could probably be your physical.
Yes, because aging is not a factor of body, aging is a factor of mind.
Yeah.
So, about your intellectuality, about your approach to the life, attitude to life.
Mm.
And because of that, in these aspects, aging is not a negative change, it's a very positive change. As you said, that old people can use a lot of knowledge, experiences, and together we all call them wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom is not always a feature of aging. Also, I know a lot of old people that they are not wise. And also, I know a lot of young people that they are wise. It's not so direct relationship with aging, but it's expected from the aged people to be wise. Why? Because they have a lot of past life experiences and learning and faults, failures, and also feedback, and again feedback until go to the right way in the right time and right place. So it's a good example for looking at the destructive part. Aging, for example, is not destructive, but it's a weakening stage of life. But we can look at it from a positive. So what are the forces of change? Is there any forces for change? For example, for you, you say that I want to establish my own business in the field of personal training.
Mm.
What are your forces for creating this change in your life?
Um,
External forces and internal forces. What about
I think internal forces would be probably like, I guess, confidence. Got to change your confidence.
you?
Um,
You have confidence to create your business or not? You want
yeah,
to create your business to create your confidence, which is
mm,
cause, which is effect.
yeah.
Your confidence is the causality of your business creation or not. Your business creation will end to your higher confidence, which is first, which is second.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time? You said, can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
We have two parts:
Yeah.
one motivator, one motivated, one
Mm,
cause, and one effect. Okay.
mm,
Sometimes you say, yes, I have self-confidence for creating my own business in personal training field. Because of my self-confidence and confidence to my knowledge, confidence to my experience, confidence to my learning, yes, I know that I can establish my business, for example, in the field of personal training. So your confidence is a causality, is the reason that you can create your business. Sometimes you said, no, I don't have any confidence about my abilities for creating a business. So if I can create my business, after that, I feel, yes, I have the confidence. In that part, your business is a causality of your confidence. It's not the result of your confidence. It is the producing part of your confidence, which is in for you. At first, you think that, yes, I have the ability to create a business. It is your confidence create your business. Sometimes you said, I don't have any ability, I don't have any sense of confidence, not real confidence. But because of the after business, if I see, yes, I am successful in my business, after that I feel, yes, I have self-confidence. For example,
mm.
in you, which is first, which is second? Can you distinguish between them or not? You cannot
Yeah.
find a
Yeah.
relationship.
I can. I think for me personally, I would have confidence after I start the business, just
Oh.
because I haven't. I guess I haven't experienced. Like I don't have that wisdom. I guess so. It's
Mhm.
kind of hard. Like it's unheard of to hear of a 23-year-old starting his own personal training business and starting from and not being able to like because like some people have better resumes. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mhm.
kind of gives the another internal like doubt. Like that's a
Mhm.
negative thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So doubt or like yeah, I would say it gives like another negative,
Yeah.
which is doubt, you know?
That can change it, can destroy everything.
Yeah.
Also, it is not about the rational thinking and rational question. That is something else. That is your feeling
Yeah.
about your ability. This is not about the rational reasoning, and it is not about your deficiency. We don't have any problem to have problem. The
Mm,
wise people don't have any problem to have problem because they have accepted themselves as human beings, and they soon,
mm,
yes, sometimes we have some problems, sometimes we don't know anything about the situation. Deficiency in knowledge and deficiency in experience is very regular and very normal. But if somebody says that, no, I don't want to have any failure in any time, it's a false belief. And in the other part, some people say, if I have any problem in some areas, I will leave that area. I don't work in that area. It is also, again, another false belief. It is about the making confidence, not having confidence. It is about
mm,
creating, as you said.
mm,
After that, I will see that, yes, I am successful, relatively successful in my business. I say to myself, yes, I can be confident about my business. Now you can see here forces for change. And also it is about organizations, not about the personal life. It is external forces and internal forces. And we have these types and these factors and external forces. For example, economical and political, cultural and social, demographic, industry, and technology. These are the external forces that can lead us to create a change in our organization. For example, economical and political at the first ranking of the all forces for creating change because it is supposed that an organization is established for making money at first, even it is non for profit, but generally it is established for making money. An economical and political part is related to the whole society and whole market situation. For example, these days, near the New Year and changing the president of America, and also a crisis, biological crisis, so-called COVID-19, we see that we have an instability in the, for example, stock market. Nobody knows. Some people have greed to buy and buy. Some people have a lot of fear to sell and sell and sell. And with huge amount of news in the way, we have some news about the vaccination, about the changing the president, and other parts. These are the economical and sometimes political factors. Uh, in all the parts of the world, we can see these factors. Even in the modern country, developed countries like America and Europe countries, some part in developing countries like Middle East, sometimes in the developing countries in the high rated for example like China, like India, we see the political and economical part and forces for change in all areas of work, and also cultural and social forces for change. It is sometimes about the organizational change. For example, if you as a company, as an organization, create a new product, you should compatible your product features with the culture you want to enter, with the culture of society you want to enter. Especially when you produce a production in one part of the world and want to sell it in another part of the world. For example, in automobile industry or mobile industry, this is very cross-cultural. It's not related to the specific culture. But if you study about the sociology of car industry, it was shocked. Why? Because you see buying cars in a lot of countries like Europe was so different from buying car, for example, especially in Africa. Why? Because the culture base was different. African people thought about the usage of automobile cars in different ways from Europe people, from American people. Why? At first, because of the atmosphere, about the weather, about the geographical condition. Secondly, because of the mindsets. So it is not good or it is not bad. It is only differences. So cultural and social differences can create a basic for studying about the forces for change and motivation forces. Demographic also, it is about the differences in demography. Do you know what's the meaning of demography?
You said what's the difference in demographic?
Yeah. What do you know the meaning of demography?
Demographic is kind of the people you like um like apply to, I guess. Like okay, I can like give you an example. So like if I'm at a job and like or we're selling a product, like I have to know my demographic so I know how much like I can like
Pay.
pay or customize my product to that demographic
Yeah.
or those type of people.
Yeah, demographic, as you know, prefix of demo is meant in Latin word is mean people. For example, you said democracy. Democracy is dominancy of people.
Mm.
And you said demography, showing the general population feature. It is about the age, it is about the marital status, occupational status, educational status, racial status, ethnical status. These are the personal features of a person that totally, when we are talking about the demographic situation of a society, for example, in my country, Iran,
Mm.
now it is about more than 50% half of my country population are under age of 30, so young. Now it is very good. We have a
Mm.
lot of young people. But after 30 years, these young people will be old age.
Yeah.
And as a demographic situation and demographic features, the strategic leadership of the country should think about the future of 30 years and sometimes create some changes in lifestyle of general population and in the resources for the next generation. Why? Because as a leader, as a manager, as a president, he or she should know about the future. This is the basic differences between leaders and managers. Leaders are future oriented. And also industry and technology. Industry, you can see here uh, different parts of industry. For example, in one single industry, the industry you want to enter, personal training. You
Yeah.
assume that in coronavirus, you were a general manager, you're maybe your owner, gym,
Mm.
but it is coronavirus, as you know, 24 hours uh, 24 hours. I heard that it was bankruptcy. Why?
Mm.
Because of the nature of the industry. The nature of this industry, it's about going to a physical location and
Mm.
using the tools, you're using the apparatus in there for bodybuilding, for fitness, the pool, and other parts, and pay money. And now it is coronavirus, and nobody can go out. For example, I cannot go out of my home. Okay, you are coming to my home with the Zoom, and I am teaching you.
Mm.
It is different, but it is not canceled. You pay
Yeah.
money to university, I receive my salary, everything. The procedure has been deferred, yes, but it is not canceled. When we are talking at the type of industry as a force for change, not only speak about talking about the specific situations like COVID-19, it's general factor. The type of industry, when you want to change to the type of your industry, it is called the force for change. And sometimes it is not about the type of industry you want to change. It is about the technology you use in the same in the same industry. For example, about the automation. Automation is increasing and growing so fast, and one of the worrying about the future of human forces is if computers, if robots can do anything instead of the human beings. At one side, this is very good, and other side, it is very bad because we lose a lot of workforces and a lot of people uh, don't have any work in the future, and how can they want to earning money. Because of that, the shift and switch in technology is very important force for change. And the other parts, internal parts of an organization, I think it is very important and it is very tangible. Why? As a manager, you are working with your organization, not with your society. Also, you should consider society, but in a very small scale, very cheap scale. You should consider your own organization, not your society, because you are not a social leader. You are the manager, owner, or leader of your organization. Because of that, the internal forces, the internal factors inside your organization can have a very strong impact on your decision about the what types of change should be created and how can we create those types of change, and what are our prediction of the future of the change we are creating and other parts. These internal forces are low performance. Sometimes I think you can find these internal forces also in very small organizations like family. Family is a type of organization, a type of institution. It's a basic institution of the society is family. You can find some of these internal forces to create change in family. One, low performance. Two, no leadership. Three, low satisfaction. Four, no mission. And five, conflict. Low performance is very important. Why? Because the performance is that part of the company organization that you can see, you can observe and measure. It is called performance. That part that you cannot see is called function. Function you cannot see, but you can measure a function. For example, a function of your heart. You can see your function of your heart, but you can measure it and feel it. But the function of my hand is not function, it is performance, hand performance. Performance has the ability to be observed and to be measured. And when you see in your company low performance, low results of the actions of the co-workers, of the employees, it can be a force for change and motivated the company to be changed. And new leadership also, honestly, when you have created a correct and science-based system, it doesn't mean that with changing the leadership, you should change your system. It is not a system. A system is stable along the time. With changing the managers, the system will not change. The new manager for guiding the same system in a new ways, not only in a new perspective. The perspective should not be changed in a system, in a good established, a well-established system. So sometimes new leadership and talking about the future in this aspect uh, is a good force, internal force for organization to create some changes in different aspects of organization. For example, in financial aspects, marketing aspects, internal aspects, for example, working with the different departments and teams within a group, within an organization. Low satisfaction is very important because when you are not satisfied with your job, it is like you are not satisfied with your partner. We have three areas of important functioning in our life. One, working. Two, love. And three, play. These are the three important areas of functioning in our life. Low satisfaction in an organization can cover a lot of low satisfaction in the field of work. And after that, low satisfaction will end to the low outcomes of the employees. And after that, in the high cost producing the productions of the company. New mission, we have talked about it in the previous sessions about the relationship between the vision, mission, and the strategy, and also conflict that we cannot consider two, not always oppositional, but sometimes we are not have at the same time two or more different things at the same time. It's a conflictual behavior and conflictual situation, and conflictual situation will end to conflictual behaviors and conflictual thinking and methods. And we talk about the different type of about the conflicts in an organization, also in our personal relationship. We talk about the culture and change. In the in talking and discussing the impacts of culture on the change, we can consider two important areas. One, ambiguity tolerance or uncertainty tolerance or tolerance for ambiguity. And two, time perception, because there's no such thing as time in reality. The time is a perception of your mind. Because of that, other mammals like lions, like tigers, like baboons, like monkeys, we think that they don't have any perception of time because it is not a reality, outer reality, external reality. It's your the mind perception of time as the past, present, and the future. So culture talk with us about these major areas of changing. One, tolerance for ambiguity, and two, time perception. What we can say about the tolerance of ambiguity? In cultures such Greece, Guatemala, Portugal, or Japan, where people don't easily tolerate uncertainty and ambiguity, change can be seen as a threat and is either ignored, resisted, or carefully planned and managed. It's a very basic and deep discussion about the meaning of change in our life. A lot of people see the change as a threat, as an opportunity to destroy everything, not as an opportunity for growth, not as an opportunity for transcendence, not as an opportunity for modification, not an opportunity for transformation. They see the change as an opportunity for destroy everything, destructive position. Why? People, countries, cultures that cannot tolerate uncertainty. They want to have a very clear roadmap with a clear and high positive predicted outcomes of their actions. They don't have any good tolerance for ambiguity, tolerance for uncertainty. Because of that, in cultures, as text said, Greece, Portugal, Guatemala, Japan, they see the change as the threat. And at first, the primary reaction to threat, to danger, is fight, flight, or freeze. Ordinary everybody will flight from the fearful positions. Sometimes you fight against a fearful situation, and sometimes you are paused, you are frozen. And what should I do against that fearful position? So when you see the changing position as the threat to your life and you think that destroy everything, it is good for you to know that yes, it can be, it can have a lot of opportunities for new aspects of life, for new aspects of market. You can see in these days a lot of people became poor and poor in COVID-19, but some people have become very, very richer than the time previous of COVID. Why? Because they think that every situation is a situation for growth, and every situation is a situation for learning. Why? Because this is the scientific definition of learning. Learning is a relatively permanent changes because of rehearsal or experience. So we have three items, three components in definition of learning. First, change. Two, experience or rehearsal. Three, relatively stable, relatively consistent. If you have change, but your change is not relative to your experiences or rehearsals, yes, it is change, but it is not learning. If you have changed and these changes are relative to your experiences or rehearsal, is it change? Yes, but it is not learning. Why? Because it is not relatively persistent, consistent, and stable. With these scientific elements we consider for definition of learning, we can see every aspect of life that needs to be changed, not as a threat. In the cultures that they don't have any good ambiguity tolerance, like Japan, like Portugal, like Greece, they see any type of change as a threat for life, as a threat for present situation. But in cultures like Sweden, United States, and Canada, where change is tolerated, and perceived as an opportunity. Leaders deal with change by making quick changes to their organization and implementing short-term strategies that address the immediate pressure relatively more quickly than in other cultures. We call them that. What type of changes you can create in your organization as a leader? Short-term changes, short-term decisions, or long-term decision. In this aspect, it is not about the time. It is not about the speed of your reaction and how can you see the position of your life. Is it the same part of your life that you want to change? And it is very short-term and rapid reaction to the changes outside or inside, external or internal of your organization, or even in your personal life. Or no, you see that I have done it before a lot, and I know that I should continue the same way for the different result. It is impossible. If you cannot change anything, nothing will be changed. It is very clear, very logical. With the same old wrong, or sometimes with the same old correct and true results, you cannot receive new different results. The same way, the same gain. If you want a different gain, you should change your ways. Different ways, different gains. The same way, the same gain. Because of that, tolerance of ambiguity is very important, and the passion of life and embracing the life as a beautiful gift from everybody, as a beautiful gift to your life, to your existence, it is very important. Even your organizations, challenging people, challenging managers love their organizations. Why? Because they know it is something like that, the platform of trade marketing or stock market trading. It is uptrend, sometimes downtrend. After downtrend, we have a better uptrend. So, one of the basic concepts related to culture is tolerance of ambiguity in the organization. Why? Because the organization is related to their culture. What's the meaning of culture? That rituals, that standards, that beliefs, which are dominant in a society. The other part is perception of time. Leaders from present-oriented culture, where time is linear, are likely to react fairly quickly to change and focus on short-term planning. Leaders from past and future-oriented cultures are less likely to act quickly to change, taking time to plan and consider the long-term impact of their actions. Is it good or bad? There's nothing good or bad here. There's relative to your attitude to change and relative to your cultural base of thinking about the change. Some countries, we talk about them, that they have the rapid perception of time, and they think that yes, everything is important only at the moment, at this moment, living in the moment, not living for the moment. And they have some short-term reactions and rapid reactions to the changing factors of their organization. And other parts, other countries think that yes, we should learn from the last and plan for the future. And the present time is the only time we can do anything it is necessary for learning from the past and future, creating the future. It is something so-called sometimes strategy, thinking about the future based upon the past time. So with these parts that we talk about, we have four types of change: planned change, unplanned change, evolutionary change, and revolutionary change. So it seems that the words are very easy to understand: planned and unplanned, evolution and revolution. But in practice, in creating change and programming for change. We have some major rigid differences between these types of change: planned change, unplanned change, evolutionary change, and revolutionary change. Planned change occurs when leaders or followers make a conscious effort to change in response to a specific pressure or problem. You know the internal force of change, you know the external force of change. Ambiguity tolerance is low. Why? Because we assume that there is no ambiguity, there is no uncertainty here. And after that, you think that, yes, what's the problem with the change? Nothing. It's a specific pressure, a specific item, and we should react to that item in a correct way to have the maximum rate of effectiveness in the future for our organization. We can plan it. It's good for the situations which are very clear. The needs for change are very clear. The items that should be changed are very clear. There is no uncertainty, there is no ambiguity. In the other parts, we have unplanned change. Occurs randomly and suddenly without the specific intention of addressing a problem. Unplanned change, it is something like crisis management. In the crisis, you have an unpredictable situation in your life. You have an unexpected situation in your life of family, in your life of organization. It is unpredictable, unexpected. So you need to do some urgent actions to solve the problems or to control the problems or to adapt with the problems. You need some urgent, rapid, quick action and quick reaction to the situation. It is unplanned. It is not pre-planned. You didn't have any good prediction of such an event. You think, yes. For example, earthquake. If you can do something about the prediction and prevention of earthquake, it is good. But with the high tech science and high tech technology we are using these days, honestly, in a lot of countries, we cannot have a certain, very specific prediction of occurring the earthquake. So, because of this unpredictability, unexpectability of the earthquake, we should consider it as an crisis, as a crisis, and we should have some preventive implementation, preventive interventions for the earthquake. It is unplanned change. At the same page, we have evolutionary and revolutionary. Where gradual or incremental change is evolutionary. As you know, the most important factor in the evolution is time, is changing along the time, changing the time. And revolutionary or frame breaking. It's like frame breaking. You change everything in a short period of time. Change that is rapid and dramatic. You see planned and unplanned and evolutionary so slowly, so deep, and so important with the long-term planning, with the long-term perspective of your for your company or for yourself or your for family. And sometimes this revolution of frame breaking. You break everything, every present frame. It is called Levin's model of change. One of the first and the best models for the change is Court Levin change. It's Court Levin's model of change. Court Levin was a Court Levin was a social psychologist, and also he works in industry. He is one of the, some people think that he is the father of industrial psychology and social psychology. Why? Because In his life, he tried to talk about the factors that have a great impact on the industrial part of life. One of the first, and also one of the simplest, and also one of the best models, very, very simple model for the stages of change is Kurt Levin's model for change. It has three parts: unfreezing, changing, and rephrasing. When you are talking about unfreezing, you see the puzzle, the pieces of puzzle are becoming far from each other, preparing people, understanding the need for change, is that it is not matched together. We should change something. And after that, implementing an actual, accurate, and tangible change, observable change. And after that, we go to a new situation, a new model, or a new frame of the same position, but with a new frame. It is sometimes called reframing instead of rephrasing. Rephrasing, it is when you cannot consider that which is the new model and which is the old fashioned, because the change has become so permanent in your organization or in your life that, for example, in your life, it is your lifestyle. In your organization, it is your organizational culture, new organizational culture. But everybody come to organization cannot find which is the old culture, which is the new culture. Why? Because the new culture has repeated and repeated and repeated, and now it is very permanent, very current, very, very current in your organization. It is rephrasing, providing support to sure change becomes permanent, taking hold, take hold in the rephrasing. Factors to consider in change, the importance of recognizing the need for change. Based on the Kurt Levin's, based on the Kurt Levin's model of change, we have some factors to consider in change. Christian, are you there or not?
No, I'm here.
Yeah. What do you think about these parts that I studied? What do you think about the three parts of unfreezing, changing, and rephrasing steps of change?
Um,
Have you had any experience in your life for creating a very, we can call it, for example, here is revolutionary or frame breaking. Have you experienced any frame breaking change in your life?
um, hmm, maybe. Yeah,
Sometimes in
like when
adolescence, we
you,
have some frame breaking changes in our life.
yeah, probably like I guess everybody had it like when they go to college.
Yeah.
When they first go to college, they kind of have to like leave home, I guess.
Uh,
So yeah, that was frame breaking.
you didn't
Um,
have any living alone before that.
yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, everybody kind of goes through that though, you know.
Yeah. And it was unplanned change or planned change?
Planned.
Planned change.
Hopefully, well, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, planned.
Planned.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to plan to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to. That's your choice.
Hmm. What was your specific pressure or problem in your plan change? You see in the
Um,
definition of plan change, we should have a specific pressure or problem. What was your specific pressure or problem to create such a plan change in your life?
uh, money, making money. Like it's like put you in the best position to make money.
It was
Or
pressure or problem?
problem.
It was your problem or it was your pressure for going
Well,
out of
pressure,
it?
pressure, pressure, pressure. I'll
Pressure.
say pressure.
It was positive or negative?
Depends on how you take it. I think because it could be to me, it's positive because it's like I plan like I would want it to pressure me into something better, not something worse. You know what I'm saying? So I would say positive pressure for me, because you don't want to be, you don't want like I would say like you want it to be a positive pressure because like who doesn't want to make like
Yeah,
or live a certain, not even a certain lifestyle or a good lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? A solid lifestyle for
yeah,
not only you but your future. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So yeah.
I have experienced such a plan pressure. Sorry, I will close the window. I think all of us have experience, especially at the end of adolescence and the time one to entering the adulthood stage of our life after
Yeah.
20, after 80 years old. We experience such a relatively planned but very at the first phase, at the first picture, we see that it is very revolutionary at the
Mm,
first stage because coming from coming out from adolescence and their family base living to an adult and single and independent and also sometimes a lone lifestyle, which is frame breaking, yes. But when you look at it at the future perspective of your life, you see that it was the beginning, starting point of your evolutionary change, not revolutionary. Yes, the starting point is very frame breaking, very
mm,
revolutionary. But looking at the perspective of your life, for example, for the next 10 years, you see
mm,
that that point, that frame breaking point, was a starting point at the revolutionary change. Was a starting point on an evolutionary change. Why?
mm.
Because it starts with this point, but doesn't stop. The next point, the next point. And for example, you are just now again in the same page. Why? You are waiting for finishing your education and undergraduation, and after build your business and other things.
Mm.
All people, I think, have some parts of some types of change. And for example, in your example of your life, what was the three stages of your change? What was the unfreezing stage? What was the changing stage? And what was the refreezing stage? Can you
Uh,
consider separate of them or not? You are confused about the three stages of your change you created
nah,
in life.
nah. It's cool. I would say the unfreezing stage was like for this example, graduating high school,
Mhm.
and then the changing stage was actually like applying to or getting
What
accepted
was the
into
need
college.
for, when you are talking about unfreezing stage,
Mm.
you should consider, you should determine your need for change. What was the need for change after graduation from high school?
The need for change was,
Yeah. What was the need for change? Note
I
that,
guess to
note that I am reviewing this process with you because, especially as a coach,
uh,
you will face in the near future, for example, after 1 year,
yeah,
that you should persuade other people to do something. You should
mm,
force other people to do something by their own internal forces, not by your external supervision.
mm,
In that point, the first problem is that understanding and comprehending the need for change.
yeah,
As a father, as a coach, as a business owner, as an employee, as a general people, a general population, in all aspects of life, it is very hard. I have a lot of not bad experience, but a lot of hard experience
mm,
to say people why you should change.
mm-hmm,
Because of that, unfreezing is very hard, very, very slow, and sometimes it is very deep. Because
mm-hmm,
of that, Every time you are thinking about the change process, at first you should think about the unfreezing stage. And unfreezing stage, the key word of the unfreezing stage is need for change, understanding the need for change, and
Mm,
teaching the need for change, and sometimes learning the need for change. Because of that, I am practicing um, um, this type of change model, this type of creating change in your life, in your organization, your personal life. Because of that, I want you have a good practice with me about the elements of Levin's model of change. So, for example, after graduation from high school, you have a high school diploma and you are
mm,
looking at the future. You want to be something more than your family members and clear and brilliant with a lot of honor in the future, and others and others and others. For example, a good moneymaker, financial business. What was the need for change?
uh,
Why do you want to these different, hard, and difficult stage in your life?
um, I guess it could be like you said, like the pressure of having, um, like wanting to have more for like your family. Like, let's say your family didn't only graduated from high school. Maybe you
Uh-huh.
want to like change that narrative, I guess. But also the change could be like, I guess like straight out of high school, you don't want to work like you don't want to work like for 15 or like for $10 an hour and work
Uh-huh.
like 50 plus hours a week. Like you don't want to do that. So you have to go get your education. You know what I'm saying? To get you
Yeah.
better opportunities. So that can mean a pressure for change as well too. Um, or your need for change. So yeah.
So, for me, at your age,
Mm,
when I was 22, and before that, when I graduated from my high school, for example, one of the greatest needs for change was making more money.
mm,
Why? Because my family was not a rich family, but
yeah.
very, very average level family. Not so poor, not so rich. And so why about money? Because I felt also in that time, in that age, that money can solve a lot of my problems. It is a need for change. It's a general need for change. I was looking for identity, social identity. I was looking for social credit. I was looking for my name, my famous name. As I don't know that you know that or not. I am in my country a public figure. A lot of lectures, a lot of TV shows, and other stuff. That perspective of my life, how to be a famous man, to be a famous, for example, psychologist, to have a good money maker, psychologist in the country, it created in me a lot of passion to change. Because if you don't have any passion to change, you cannot consider you as a powerful motivator force for yourself. You always need other people out of your situation motivate you. And if you lose your motivators, you lose your ideas, you lose your goals, you lose your energy. And after that, we come to changing, implementing actual change. Are you still, before ending the undergraduation, are you still in the changing stage or not?
Um, yeah, I would assume, yeah.
Because it is not implemented.
Yeah.
So you consider this part, for example, these 3 or 4 years of life, you consider these parts, these years as a changing stage, not
Mm.
rephrasing changing. How do you predict about the rephrasing stage of your life?
Uh, what do you mean? How do I predict? Like what I
How
want
do
the
you
end
say
result to be?
what is your perspective of your life? For example, in 2021, it is the
Mm,
time of ending your undergraduation courses program. Okay, and
yeah.
after that, you see, when do you think that you will think that my changes are not temporary? They are permanent, and I cannot feel them as a new situation. My changes have become my lifestyle. For example, in 2022, 2023, or not, it is not
Mm.
related to time. It is related to your passion, to your effort. How, what time do you think you will feel your new changes as a lifestyle, not as a new changes? It will become so permanent. Do you have any prediction of time or effort for the future for rephrasing stage or not?
Uh, well, it depends on like if I want to like continue with school or whatever happens, basketball or whatever, you know. So
Uh,
it depends on what I want it to be. I guess you kind of have control of that refreezing stage. Because if I go back to school, I'll be in the changing stage still, you know.
you know why I am asking such questions? Because we have types of change: planned change and unplanned change.
Mm,
People with unplanned change cannot create a good rephrasing stage. Why? Because it is unplanned. They go by chance, especially in such hard, rigid fields like, for example, basketball. If you want to be a professional basketball player, you cannot be an unplanned changer. You should be absolutely, you should be plan change with evolutionary approach to your basketball playing,
mm,
not revolutionary, not frame breaking, because it is not temporary. It is very permanent lifestyle. If you
mm,
want to be a professional basketball player, yeah, you
mm,
can amateur. Okay, that's good. Unplanned. Every time you want to go to gym, to your salon, and play basketball with your friends, with your coach, but if it should be, you want it should be your career, your job, your business,
mm,
your major approach of your business, it should be plan changed
mm,
and evolutionary approach, step by step, very gradual, very incremental. Why? Because it should be your lifestyle. Except
mm.
of that, you cannot be successful as a permanent. As you see in a lot of people that they don't have any plan change, any planning for their change, and they have some revolutionary change and frame breaking changes, and after that say goodbye to everything that they have planted in their life. So, with the discussion we have together, factors in consider change. I cannot see the name of other students who is unmuted. Please mute yourself, unmute yourself, and present yourself to us because I cannot find your name to consider you in the attendance list.
It's Miss Cole. So
What's the name?
it's Miss Cole,
Oh,
Miss Maurice. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, Miris. Hi, Miris. Oh, Miris is not there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Miris. How are you? Are you in campus? Okay. Have a good day. Thank you for joining us. Yes, factors to consider in change. The importance of recognizing the need for change, preparing and motivating followers to implement it. The inevitable presence of the resistance to change. We will talk about the change resistance. It is very regular, very popular, very frequent in the change process. The focus on people as the source of learning and changing, and the need to support new behaviors and allowing them to take hold. At first, we talk about the need for change. For example, we had some stories about your personal life and your personal future designing, that what can we do and what should we do to it. Preparing and motivating followers to implement it. How can we say other people that follow us? Let me say you an example. How can we consider people to follow us, for example, in Instagram. As you know, the word followers these days, the word followers is a very famous word for Instagram influencing people with a lot of followers in their Instagram. What is our strategy for gaining the followers to our Instagram page, for example? How can we prepare and motivate them to implement some changes in their life, some changes in their attitude, some changes in their personal life with the data, with the information, with the motivation we offer them in our Instagram page? It's very important that how can we prepare and motivate our followers to implement the page, to implement the change. Why? Because you are alone. If your followers, if your co-workers, if your employees, if your students, if your family members, if the members of the society you want to lead and you want to create change in themselves, if they don't obey, it is not about the obedience, it is about the following. If you cannot consider them as a good followers and they don't implement the orders, they don't implement the changes, you all together as a leader, as followers, all together has a final decision about the what time of change we should create and how can we create this type of change. Because of that, you should create an obedience in your life, in your followers, in your co-workers, in your employees to create the change and to implement the stages of change. Some parts of change are very hard to accept, very hard to understand. We talk about it, about the need for change, about the stages of change. The inevitable presence of the resistance to change. Hi, Whaley, welcome. And how do you think, Christian or Waylin, you answer to my question? How do you think about the resistance to change? Is it necessary for every type of change that we can see a lot of resistance? And why? Why people have a lot of many major and a high rated level of resistance to change? Why we don't want to change? Is there any answer? Waylon or Christian, is there any answer that why we don't want to change? What is the root of change resistance? Christian,
Um,
do you experience change resistance in yourself or not?
yeah.
I
I mean,
experience myself in a lot of my regular aspects of my life. A lot of,
yeah,
for example, for eating. Do I want
yeah.
to have a good diet? Not for fitness. I'm 50 years. Only for healthy living. I see a lot of resistance in my mind, in my heart, in my body, and sometimes in my society around me, what type of food you are eating. It is very simple example, very, very simple example. Why? As a young man in 22 years old, as a young man, how do you think, and as a young man that want to be a good coach and a good leader in the future of his or her business, how do you think about the roots and causality of change resistance, why we are resistant to change as human beings? Other mammals doesn't have any resistance to change. They change or die, other mammals. And always they change. A change in other mammals is called adaptation, adjustment to fitting to situations. As Darwin says, survival of fittest, not survival of best. This is the Darwin, the founder of evolutionary approach to life, says it is about survival of fittest, not survival of best. But we are the only single being in the world that has a lot of resistance to change. Why? How do you think? Waylin, if you are in the session, please please come to our discussion. It is not important about the turn your video on or off. It is related to you, but please come to your discussion. Christian, I'm hearing you.
Um, I'm guessing the feeling of comfortability, I guess, that we have, kind of the independence we have, I guess, as a country or as humans, I guess. I guess we're just scared to be able, like, it's never a life or death situation. I don't want to say that, but like you said, from animals, like it's a life or death. Like they have to adapt, or it's a life or death situation.
Yes.
Ours is kind of like modified in that sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
we can, like sometimes it's a life or death situation, but most of the time it's really not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to resist change, and I don't have to be in a life or death situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to accept it if it's not, if the terms are not on a life or death situation.
Uh-huh. Now,
Um,
have you heard anything about the phrase comfort zone?
yeah, I have.
What do you think about the phrase comfort zone? Is
What
it
do I?
safety zone? I think that it is not safety zone, but it's comfort zone. For example, depression is a comfort zone. It's very interesting that you are in a painful situation. When you have depression, you are not happy. It is called depression, not happiness. But it
Mm,
is your comfort zone. You know it very good. You don't have any problem to be depressed. Why? It is depression. It has a lot of pain. It's a lot of unpleasant life or lack of pleasure and dysfunctionality in your life. So, how do you think? What is your interpretation? What is your translation, your own translation of the phrase the comfort zone? Because I want to talk about it after that, about the stages after comfort zone that you indicated so correct in your talking. What is the meaning of comfort zone?
comfort zone is kind of a zone where, um, like you don't want to experience change or rapid change, so you kind of just in like a place of like not. I wouldn't say like, I would say like a stud growth. I don't want to even say stud growth because you can be in your comfort zone and grow. I would say
Mhm.
just you're in a zone of like, you know, everything that's kind of going on. You know what I'm saying? Or you're just in like a safe. I don't, because it's not really a safe zone either.
Yeah.
Um,
Why
I
it
don't know
is
how to
not
explain
safe
it.
zone?
Because you can
Comfort
be,
zone is not always safe zone. Why?
yeah. Because I mean, like an example, like if you live in a low income area, you can be comfortable in that low income area,
Hmm.
but you don't have to necessarily be safe.
Yes.
But you can be
Excellent.
comfortable.
Excellent. Yeah.
Um, I don't
When you
know.
are in safe zone is about the survival. It's a safe zone.
Yeah, yeah.
But comfort zone is not necessarily about survival. It is about to be comfort. Sometimes you are addicted. You have a lot of substance abuse, for example, experiences in your life.
Mm,
Is it comfort zone? Yes. It is safe zone? No. You will die because of substance abuse. You know, but it's comfort zone. As you
mm,
said, and it indicates so good. You talk about it so good. I didn't expect you to interpret such a good, clear interpretation. It's a very good point for you that you think about the comfort zone so direct and very, very basic, scientifically based.
mm.
Good job.
Thank you.
Safe zone, sometimes it is about the survival, but comfort zone is not necessarily about the survival. As I talked about it, it's about, for example, substance abuse. A lot of people, everybody knows that substance abuse is a toxic experience. Every type of, the book said, for example, honestly, scientifically, alcohol is a toxic matter.
Mm,
It's a poison. Scientifically, if you go and ask a chemist that what is alcohol, he or she will say to you that it's a toxic, it's a poison. Not bad, not good. It's a poison.
mm,
It has itself natural consumption, itself natural utilization. But you For example, at first, at the lowest level, for example, you drink alcohol. And substance abuse, cocaine is a catastrophic matter. It is about the catastrophic, changing your brain structure only with 1 or 2 dosage of usage, cocaine. And I think, honestly, everybody knows it. Yes, everybody doesn't know anything about the chemical, molecular, and formulation of cocaine. It is not necessary for you to know it. It's not related to you. You are only a user. But you should know the effect and side effects. And also you know the effects because it is very a high level of consciousness and different consciousness and different, yes. But about the side effects, everybody knows the regular side effects, but it is in the comfort zone, not it is in the safe zone. It is very important to distinguish between these parts. As you said, and I want to complete your talking about the comfort zone. We have 3 stages after comfort zone. The stage 1 is comfort zone. After stage 1, we have other 3 stages to create change. As you said, just after coming out of comfort zone, the first stage is fear zone. And at the other side, it is very interesting. Every time you come out of your comfort zone, you will experience fear. And everywhere you are experiencing fear, you can look at your back and see what type of comfort zone you have left. It's always. So a lot of people doesn't want to experience fear because it's fearful. It's not a good emotion. It's a bad emotion. It's a negative emotion. After fear, you want to have 3 reactions. First, you want to have a flight, escaping from the situation. 2, fight. And 3, freeze. We talk about it. As you said, people don't want to feel fear. And because of that, they stay at the same wrong, bad, dysfunctional comfort zone. It's very dysfunctional. We don't have any good, any dysfunctional, any positive comfort zone. Yes, we have some positive stable zone. So we have another zone, stable zone. Stable zone is not always the comfort zone, and comfort zone is always a stable zone. It is talking about the concepts within the states. Comfort zone, stable zone, fear zone. And after overcoming the fear zone, you enter to the 3rd stage. It is learning zone. You start to learn, you start to learn, you start to learn, and learning and learning and learning and learning without fear. Why? Because you have a long distance from your comfort zone. You are not the same one as you were before. You are not the same one. You have said bye-bye to your comfort zone, and you have overcome your fear zone, and you are so courageous to learn a lot of new materials and new skills and new mindset. Mindset is very important. Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. Mindset is everything. In learning zone, you are accepting, you are acquiring the new mindset, the new skills. And after that, you enter to the 4th area. 4th area is growing zone. Growing zone is a zone after learning zone. So first is comfort zone, second is fear zone, third is learning zone, and 4th is growing zone. At the end of the growing zone, the new growing zone will become your new comfort zone again. And some years, some days, some weeks, you are in your new comfort zone, such a good life we have. And after sometimes you think that, I am not stable. I am dying. I am always in dying state or in doing a state. I am not in being a state. We have 3 states in your life. Doing a state, a lot of people are in doing a state. They do and do and do and do. No presence at the present moment. No existence at the present moment. It is called doing a state. Sometimes with meditation, with a hyper and altered state of consciousness, you enter in your ordinary daily life in the being state. Sensory awareness is very important. Have the role of observer to your life is very important, and other parts. And after that, you go to other states. It's called dying state. Dying state is you live as today is the last day, maybe the last day of your life. It is dying state. It needs a higher level of wisdom also. So a lot of people, many people live only in doing state. And at the end of the day, when they want to sleep, if you ask them, what about today? They only talk about their actions, their doings, not about their presence, not about their existence, not about their experiences. They are talking about their actions. Your actions are not necessarily your experiences. When you don't have any existence, any presence in your actions, these are only actions. You are not so different from a machine. A machine can the same actions and you have the same actions. What is the difference between you and a robot? That you should experience your actions. These are the different parts. So if you want to have a conclusion from our discussion about the comfort zone, change is not in the comfort zone. Comfort zone is the change resistant stage, change resistant zone. Because of that, it is called comfort zone. And after that, you go to the fear zone. Honestly, I have a lot of fear zone in my personal life. And I am so happy that I didn't give up in the fear zone, because the thinking of give up is the most important thinking, is the most important feeling in the fear zone. You want to escape from the fear zone. You want to flight and go out of the fear zone and go back to your modern life. I call it modern life. It is very warm, very easy, and not productive. You are always a child when you are a modern life, a pampered lifestyle. It is called in psychology a pampered lifestyle. Many people have pampered lifestyle until the end of their age. When they are dying, when they are old people, they also have pampered lifestyle. They always need somebody support them, somebody help them, and they are never independent from their pampered lifestyle, modern lifestyle. Okay, thank you for collaboration and coming to my discussion. The focus on people as the source for learning and change. What are the main components of our organization? The main components of the organizations are not instruments, are not investments. They are people, our co-workers, our employees, our staffs, our manager, different levels, and also us, also me. We are the major components of an organization. Even when you are talking about an industrial organization. Yes, when you are talking industrial organization, it is means that the goal of production of this organization is related to some type of productions, sometimes of tools, sometimes of goods. Okay. But the main component of organization is not industry. It is about the people. It is about the persons who are working in the organizations. And the final part, they need to support new behaviors and allowing them to take hold. This is about training. Every good manager, every good leader, every good parent is not a teacher. Is not. Yes.
بعد قبلیمون دبل بود با یه دونه تخت، درسته؟ قبل
Sorry. the need to support new behaviors and allowing to take hold. Every aspect, every type of leadership, every type of management is not about teaching. It is about instructing. It is not about counseling. It's a matter of coaching. It's a matter of mentorship. If you want to be an effective manager, you should be an effective change manager, because the life, the dynamic, not the static, the dynamic life of an organization is about change. And every type of change management is a matter of self-change management or self-management of our change. Okay? So we are here to the process of plan change. We can have 15 minutes of break until 11:45, and after that we come to the course again here for 1 hour, and at the final 15 minutes of our session we will have time for week 7 quiz. Any question? Okay, see you after 15 minutes. Hello again, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. Now we want to talk about the, let me put it full screen. Yeah. Process of plan change. We talk about 4 types of change: plan change, unplanned change, evolutionary change, and frame breaking change or revolutionary change. The regular change we want to do in our aspects of life is plan change. We want to have a good plan about the future planning. And after that plan is the hi Maris, welcome back. And we want to have a plan in every aspects of life. For example, your favorite word in business study is business plan. For example, in therapy, we say treatment plan. Now, if you want to have a good, predictable change for the future, you should have a plan change. So the process of plan change is very important. And also you can use it in other aspects of your life, for example, family life, educational life, occupational life, marital life, every aspects of life you want to have a plan, you can use this process. It is at first recognition of the need for change. We talk about it at the first minutes of the session of this session about the need for change. If you cannot create, or if you cannot say other people or say yourself sometimes why we need to change, because of the philosophy of comfort zone, we don't have a good tendency to change, we have a good passion to change, and we are always in the area of resistance to change or change resistance. So step one is when you are in current state or regular life, it is recognition of need for change. There is a concept, there is a model in psychology, not only a concept. There is a model in psychology written by Joseph Campbell, so-called the title is Hero's Journey. Hero's Journey is one of the most approved models for change in human life. In 12 stages, and where we do a lot of details, and especially in that model, after going out from your current life, it is the stage of it is call for adventure. Call for adventure is the same step that you see here as recognition of need for change. 2, development of ideas for change. Development for ideas for change. What changes do we want to create in our life? At first, we talk about the why, and after that, we talk about the what. At first, why do we need change? Which is step one. And after that, some ideas about the change. What type of change is good for our organization, for our private life, for our personal or family or education or occupation or every aspect of your life you want to create a change. What type of change do we want, and how can we do it, and how can we what is our pathway to the change, what are the predicted and sometimes unpredicted obstacles in the pathway to our change. And step 3, adoption of one or more ideas. Step 2 is something like think tank. It's something like brainstorming. For example, a group of members of your organization, members of your group department, and come to a lot of ideas. And after that, we choose one or more, some limited, between 1 to 5, the best average time numbers of the ideas you should have for creating change, between 2 or 4. The average is 3. It's good. less than three ideas for creating your change. It is so limiting for you. It is so limiting for you. More than three or four, it is very huge and major, and you will be confused about the changes. Step four, implementation. If you have a good mindset, if you have a good idea planning about your change, you can do some implementation. Note that mindset and preparing your mind for creating your change, especially if you are a leader in a movement, not only in an organization, in the thought movement, in the social movement, your calmness, your serenity, your silence, inner silence is very important. Because of that, you can create a good mindset in yourself to create the changes you want or you desire to see in the future of your life, in the future of your organization, in the future of your society. You want to see. At first, you should create, and sometimes we use the word experience. At first, you should experience those desires you want to see in the future of your life in yourself. Because of that, mindset is very important. Some leadership books, some success books say that mindset is about 99% of the pathway to the success, of the pathway to happiness, of the pathway to serenity. I think it is yes, it is about 99%. And the 1% remain 1% is about the action. It is not about the devaluating the values of action. No, you should have an action plan. It is very important. But without any prepared, without any efficient, without any positive mindset, positive rationality, positive passion, a lot of hope, because hope is meant this. We have a theory, so-called hope theory in psychology by Snyder. Snyder says hope has three components. One, I know what I want, the goal. Two, I know there are some ways, some pathway to achieve my goals, but now I don't know the ways, the pathways. So there are pathways, but I don't know them. It is the second part, second component of hope. And the third component of hope is I know in the pathway to achieve my goals, there are a lot of obstacles that I don't know those obstacles, but I know that I can overcome in the time of facing with obstacles. These are the three major elements of hope theory by Snyder. One, goals. Two, pathways. Three, obstacles or overcoming obstacles. These are the major parts of your mindset for achieving your success, your desired outcomes in all aspects of your life. Now, we are talking about the organizational aspects of your life or about your managerial aspects of your personality or your character or your knowledge even. Why? Because this course is about the change and this course is about the leadership. And we have talked about the personality based characteristic of leadership, which is charismatic or knowledge based or social based and other parts. So in the step four, when you want to implement it by yourself and by your followers, if you have a good action plan, if you have a good prepared mindset, if you have a good mental syntax about your plan, you can use it very, very, not easily, but it is very simple to it. Very simple. It is not complicated, very clear. The major problem of many people is not about not having a goal. Many people have goals. Why they cannot achieve their goals? Because they don't have any specific, well-defined goals. It is the problem. They don't have any, smart is this specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals. These are small goals. The first component is the specific goals. Because of that, step one, step two, step three, these are not the introductory part. These are the main part. These are the infrastructure parts. After that, you enter to the observable and measurable part of achieving your goals and creating the change you want to create in your life or in your organization or your corporation or your society. Step five, allocation of resources. Allocation of resources is the opposite of the position that you have a lot of money in different bank accounts. Every time you want to know how many money you have to your bank account, you should consider all your bank accounts. And when you invest in different projects, at one side it is good, lower risk, because if one project has been in the failure stage, okay, the other project will be in the success stage. Yes, but it is not allocation. It is not allocated. For creating change, concentration and allocation, it is very important. Concentration is about the matter of way of using your resources. This is concentrated way of using. Allocation of resources or allocated way of resources, it is about the subject, about the matter of resources you want to use. And finally, as an other smart stages, another smart platform, another stage of other smart planning for achieving your goals, you should have the final stage. The final stage is evaluation. Evaluation should end to feedback. Feedback is about what have done before this stage and are the outcomes we have achieved are the same desired outcomes or not. They are undesired. Sometimes it is called failure or success. When we achieve our desired outcomes, it is called success. When we achieve our undesired outcomes, these are failure. But honestly and really, there is no such thing, as Anthony Robbins says, there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. So there is no such thing as failure or success. We have only the undesired outcomes or undesired outcomes. So our discussion or evaluation or sometimes our feedback is about the desirable or undesirable. It is about outcomes, not the points. Success and failure are points, but outcomes is a part of the process of achieving, and it is endless process. Yes, in some cutoff points, you can find some final outcomes in that points of space or point of time. Yes, but it is endless. After that, they can and you can find other forward and other next stages of the process of achievement, the higher goals, the higher desires. And after that, again, desired states, welcome. As we talk about the comfort zone, we talk about the growing zone, the final zone after comfort zone, fear zone, and learning zone, and growing zone. And now that we grow in growing zone, and it has a limited part, limited stage, limited level of growing. And in that level, the growing zone become again a comfort zone. And after sometimes we should come out of the comfort zone and go to the near fear zone. Dealing with an unplanned change. We are talking about the plan change. Avoid becoming too formal, hierarchical, and inflexible. Why? Because it is unplanned. When we say unplanned change, it means that we need a lot of flexibility because it is unpredictable. It is sometimes unexpectable. It is informal. We cannot consider our plan in a hierarchical arrange of thinking, in a hierarchical arrange of stages or states, and infuse control, unpredictability, and spontaneity. It is very important. I said to you that unplanned change is something like crisis management. And dealing with unplanned change is about crisis management. Why? Because you cannot plan it, but it needs some changes. And if you don't want to deal with your unplanned change will deal with you. It's like smoking, or you quit the smoking from your life, or smoking will quit you from your life. Which first? The first one. You the first, you quit the smoking, and after that, you continue your life. If you don't quit your smoking will quit you from your life. You will die because of smoking. At the same example is for the unplanned change. If you deal with your unplanned change with an unplanned wisdom, the wisdom with a lot of flexibility, a wisdom with a lot of non-formal and informal actions, but they are actions. You have actions and you have an area of actions. You cannot have action plan. You can have action skills or action-based skills or action area because it should be flexible. Be proactive in introducing change. It is very important. Unplanning everything. For everything, unplanning has two parts. One, prediction. Two, prevention. When we say be proactive, we are talking about the prevention. And we have three types, we have three models of prevention. One, primary prevention. Two, secondary prevention. And three, third prevention. In first prevention or primary prevention, it is something like vaccination. You prevent sorry, you prevent from something which is not occurred up to now. For example, vaccination. You prevent from illnesses. After that, you enter the second prevention. The second prevention is the part of prevention that, for example, in diseases you are ill, and you want to stop the illness and prevent for worsening the illness. You don't want to go to the higher levels of illness, to the most severe or more severe levels of illness. It is secondary prevention. And finally, for the third prevention, the illness has stopped and you want to prevent from recurrency or from again and again and again going to the illness situation. You don't want to your illness be recurrent again in the future, or it is about the uploading the viruses, uploading the microbes, uploading the causes again in your body. It is the third version of prevention. It is about lapse and relapse. You want to prevent relapse of your illness. For example, if we are talking about the prevention in having illnesses, okay? So, because of that, the keywords for dealing with unplanned change is prevention, prediction, and prevention. Because of that says proactive in introducing change. You should be the first one to predict the unplanned change. You should be the proactive in introducing the change, and replace and rotate leaders. It's very important. Why? In previous sessions, we talked about the leadership styles. Some people, some leaders, are so habituated with their style, leadership styles. And they don't want to change their styles. They don't have a good knowledge and wisdom to find the necessity for change their leadership style. They are inflexible at first. Second, the second matter is the second matter is not about their leaders. It is about the nature of unplanned change. Nature of unplanned change is something like music. If you always have the same dancing method with all musics, usually it is not an appropriate, it is not a matched dancing method. Every type of music, every style of music needs and has its appropriate matched dancing method. So if you want to use the same dancing method for all the music styles, it doesn't match, it is not rational. In unplanned change, changing and rotating the leaders is very, very important. Why? Because we know the individual and group-based skills and abilities of our leaders, our mid-level manager, and we want to planning and we want to handling and we want to controlling the unplanned change in a most efficient way with the lowest cost and with highest benefit from our procedure. So finally, our handling about the unplanned change will be with the best planning, with the best outcomes in our organization, in our personal life, in our social life. So rotating and using the different people as the leaders with the different features and with different skills, it's very important. At first, before this rotation, we should know our leaders' skills, our leader better skills, our leader master skills to use in different position, different points of our changing position as an unplanned change. And experiment with new ideas, method, and processes. It's a good position. For example, COVID-19 needs some unplanned change. Why? It seems in the general population of the world, it seems that it was unpredictable. It seems for general population. Some politician says no, we could predict it before, for example, since 2 or 3 years or 10 years, I don't know. But they are politicians. I don't know what they are talking. As an ordinary people, we are experiencing COVID-19 as quarantine, staying at home orders, and lowering some parts. A lot of people has lost their incomes or lowering their incomes, and other parts, for example, domestic violence has increased because people don't go out of their home and they are together, and sometimes conflictual behaviors we can see in other parts. Okay? It is experimenting. But what you are experimenting, you should at first experience. So we have some experiential methods, and after that, some experimental methods. Experimental methods are about the testing, about the have some tests about which is good, which is not good, which is positive, which is negative, which is efficient, which is not efficient. Experiment with the new ideas. Why? Which is unplanned and sometimes very new. Sometimes it is very new. Yes, it is unplanned and sometimes very new. Because of to be new, you need new ideas, you need new methods, you need new processes. What are the causes of resistance to change? Organizational causes, group causes, and personal causes. We have 3 parts of change: organizational change, intra-organizational change inside of an organization is group causes, and interpersonal causes, or sometimes called personal causes. Organizational causes: inertia. organizational culture, structure, lack of rewards for change, and poor timing. Why in an organization we can have some types of problems with creating change? Why? Because sometimes we know that stability and the resistance to stability, no, it is the tendency to stability. It is inertia. Inertia is mean we want to have the same way, the same old way, and we don't want to create any change in our life. It is a phrase from the mechanic physics, from the mechanical approach of moving something in the world, moving in the earth, on the surface, and with inertia, the same without any resistance. And sometimes when you have inertia in an organization, it shows itself as a resistance to change. Why? Because inertia is mean you want to go with the same speed, with the same direction, with the same approaches. So it is not about the change, it is about the same. Organizational culture. We talk about the organizational culture, about the rituals, about the values of organization, about the standards of the organization. If they are very fixed, they are very inflexible, they are very stable, that they know and they can identify themselves, the members of an organization, co-workers, uh, employees, managers, and leaders, and other parts of organization, identify themselves with the same old, not always wrong, but the same old values. They don't want to create any change in their life. Because of that, sometimes organizational culture, especially in family organizations and family jobs, we see a lot of change resistance. Why? Because the organizational culture is based upon the family traditions. What does it mean to have a tradition, family tradition organization? It means that in a family job, you have some tradition for creating your job in the family based upon the family base. Sorry. And the third component of organizational causes is structure, about the categorization of different group and different department and organization. It is called structural organization. Sometimes, for example, in military forces, in very, very high level and sometimes rigid universities, we see the structure of organization so rigid, so resistant to change. They don't want anything about the change. Why? Because also we have something called tradition here. It is organizational tradition. And lack of reward for change. It's very important for the mid-level employees, for the mid-level cooperative uh, co-workers, that why should we tolerate change? Change is painful always and hard. And what are the rewards for accepting and tolerating change and go to the new position? It is very important in the organization that you see a high level of organizational belongingness, like Toyota, car industry, Toyota. You see that people in the organization, co-workers and employees and managers at different levels love changing. Why? Because they have a high sense of organizational belongingness. And poor timing. Change needs time and effort. It is very absolutely very clear, very naturalistic, very naturalistic. At the core of any type of change, you can see time and effort, and you can need time and effort. Because of that poor timing, if you don't have good amount of time for creating change in your organization. Okay, a lot of people, we have a high level of organizational change resistance because they don't have any good time, any good amount of time to practice the change and progress the change and see the change as their new lifestyle or as their new, for example, or organizational style. These are the organizational causes for resistance to change: inertia, organizational culture, structure, lack of rewards for change, and poor timing. What are the group causes? Group norms and group cohesion. Group norms is something like organizational culture. Sometimes group norms are some parts of the same organizational culture, sometimes no. In the group norms, we have some different and very detailed differences with their organizational culture or organizational norms. But group cohesion is very important. In the working organizations, in the social working organizations, in the organizations that have a lot of activities for organizing some rights for the workers, for the working class people, we have some words like brotherhood and something that we are together, all for one and one for all. It is group cohesion? Yes. Is it good? No. Is it bad? No. It's very good. Very, very good. Very deep interconnection between the members of the group. But the problem is that sometimes in such groups, members look at the change as the oppositional side of group cohesion. They think that every type of change can destroy or can harm the group cohesion. So, what should we do finally for this part of resistance to change? Can we do it or not? Group cohesion has two parts. One, philosophical mind about the group cohesion. Two, a structural part. The structural part is it about some physical, observable, measurable interrelatedness between the group members, and they work together for a higher goal and with the higher standards. But their standards and their goal can be measured and observable. On the other parts, we have some philosophical mind about the group cohesion. For example, in religious groups, in political groups, in philosophical groups, in social changing groups, the groups to want to change the social norms. For example, hippism in 1960s, or communism or Marxism. Sometimes socialism. Socialism is not a movement; it's an outcome of movement. Some like uh, Marxism or Leninism, or sometimes even capitalism or imperialism. I don't know. Or Taoism. Sometimes some groups, some some societies work to broadcasting their religious beliefs to other countries. They are theocratic, and it is theocracy. Every ideological aspects of life we can use for changing group cohesion. And personal causes, in its greatest part, we see organizational causes for change resistance. Mid part is about group causes for change resistance. And in the smallest part, we see personal causes for the change resistance. Fear of the unknown. Welcome to the world of unknown. Fear of unknown. is the basic part, is the first, and I think the most important cause, personal cause for resistance to change. Why? Because change is unknown. And when you have fear to something, you should fight, flight, or freeze. Both, all parts, all stages are resistance. Fear of failure, highly recommended to management or leadership students, business students, to study hard about these two concepts, fear of unknown and fear of failure. Look at your real life for the last 5 years, for the last 2 years. How many decisions have you rejected because of fear of failure? How many decisions you have made because of fear of failure? How many decisions, how many actions have you done or have you made because of fear of unknown, or embracing the known feature, the familiar feature, the comfort zone of your life? Job security. I don't want to lose my job. I love job security. Because of that, I am resistant to any type of change. This is a personal cause. Note that in the highest level of security seeking, you lose the opportunity for experience and growth, the highest level. The mid level of safety and security is good. It guarantee the persistency of our procedures, of our lifestyle, in the mid level of safety and security. But the highest level of safety will kill your tendency to experience, openness to experience, and your growth. Individual characteristic and traits. Yes, one of the basic parts of psychology investigations and psychological studying was one of the basic parts was about these questions: why people are different from each other. It is called individual differences. Now we hear in the studying about the personal causes for resistance to change, we see again individual characteristic and traits, because as the personal causes for resistance to change, we have different personality type, we have different character, and because of different personality types and personality traits, we can have different capacity for accepting or rejecting the change. Previous negative experiences with change, especially in childhood. If you don't have any good, or you have some bad and negative experiences with the change in the history of previous stages of your life, say you will be so sometimes paranoid about the change. Say, no, I don't love change because it can harm and destroy everything. I don't love it. I don't have a good experience with my previous changes in life. Because of that, we say as psychologists that embracing the change and learning to how deal with change is one of the major parts of life to for parenting, for growing a child. And how can we manage it? Education and communication. At first, talk about it. Why not? Talk about the change. Talk about the need for change. Talk about the desirable and undesirable outcomes of change. Talk about the support you can give during the change process. Participation and involvement. It is very important that when you are a leader, you should be involved with the changing process of your organization. If you are out of the field and say, go forward, I am supporting you, I'm not with you, I'm at the back office, you are not a leader. You are a manager at the best scenario, at the worst scenario, you are a chef, you are a boss. Facilitation and support. It is very important. It is like training how to ride a bicycle. At first, it has, for example, 4 cycles, and after that is 3 cycles, and finally it has bicycles, 2 cycles, it is called bicycle. Support and facilitate and say, I am with you, stay cool, concentrate on your balance, and ride and ride and ride. And if you fall down, it's no problem. It is very regular in the path of practicing new skills. Some mistakes, some falls, and fear of failure is the dying spot, is the dying point of your life. A negotiation, talking together, not talking with other people, talking together about the change process. During the change process, we have some feedback, manipulation, and cooptation, and coercion. Finally, you see the best procedure for managing resistance to change. What is visionary leadership? We have 3 words, 3 keywords in leadership. That with using these 3 words, we can distinguish between leaders, managers, and boss. These words are vision, mission, and strategy. Vision, about the future. Why are we here? Why do we want to do? And how do we want to do? It is vision, mission, and strategy. So when you say visionary leadership, it's a type of leadership that you are looking at the future, sometimes too far future, in the final goal, and not destroy, but you use everything to reach at point of future. It is vision is essential to successful change. If you don't know as a whole picture, as a whole perspective, you don't know as a leader, as a manager, the necessity of this change for completing the whole puzzle of your organization, whole puzzle of your life, whole puzzle of your society. You don't have any clear vision about your society. You cannot manage the change process for your followers. So vision is essential to successful change. Every aspect, every type of successful change. 2, empowerment and confidence in followers. Note that, remember that a good trainer is a trainer with a more powerful student than himself or herself. If you are an instructor, you should have the students, the followers, the future coaches after you more stronger than you. Why? Because you give everything you have and the skills, knowledge, wisdom to them, and they have acquired and blending it with their experiences and their knowledge, and it has a synergic effect, something more than you. So because of that, in every training styles and families, in every training styles and organization, empowerment is so important. Empowerment has always a lot of difficulty and challenges and fear of failure. Yes, I know. There is no better choice rather than empowering people, especially our family members, our co-workers, our employees, and followers. Why? People, family members, your son, your girl, your wife, and daughter, and everybody around you, your followers, your team members, when you help them to empower themselves, after sometimes you have time for going for other actions, for other functions, for other goals. Why? Because they are independent of you and they are working themselves, their work, and good efficiency and good sufficiency for the organization and also for themselves. So pampered lifestyles and pampered management and pampered leadership, honestly, it is not a leadership. It is only parenting, and it is supporting and over supporting. And flexible organization. We need flexible organizations for going through the visionary leadership and teamwork and cooperation. In visionary leadership, you are not alone. You cannot follow and lead your followers, the structures, the manuals, the orders of yourself or of your people that you should answer them as, for example, board of directions, owners, or um, stockholders or shareholders. You cannot do anything only by yourself because you are a leader. What type of leader you are with no efficient followers. Having followers is not enough. To be efficient and to follow you deeply is so important than the number of followers, number of co-workers, number of team members you have. So cooperation and teamwork, working together for achieving a shared meaning, a shared goal, is more important than everything in visionary leadership. Elements of motivating vision. Simple and clearly understandable. If you talk to people so hard, if you don't understand yourself so clearly, you cannot explain yourself, explain your ideas, explain your visions for other people. There is a criteria here. If you want to know how efficient and how deeply you have understood your ideas, it's a good criteria to explaining for a child at the age of 12. At the age of 12, near age of 12, children are gaining abstract thinking. They can use symbols in their mind. So at first, simple and clear understanding. If you can explain your ideas, if you can explain your intentions for a child at the age of 12, it is good. If you cannot do it, you should work on simplicity and clarification of your vision for your organization, for your life, for your society. Challenging and idealistic, while realistic and achievable. What type of vision, what type of leadership, what type of change you are experiencing, which is not challenging? Change is about challenging aspects of life. Change is challenge. The nearest word to the change, I think, is challenge. And the nearest word to challenge, I think, is change. Changing and idealistic. Why idealistic? You have a real self and the ideal self, the self you want to be in the future, your next version. Okay? So we have a present version and next version. For organization, present state and desired state. It is our idealistic part. So challenging and not destroying everything, but disputing about everything and asking questions about everything, about the next version of everything. Okay? At the same time, you should have some realistic approach to the present resources, not limited yourself to your present resources, only good knowledge about the present resources. If you limit your idealistic thinking, if you limit your visionary thinking about your organization only to the present resources, you cannot go forward from the present situation. Why? Because you only concentrate on the present situation. You should think about the future with an extra, with other resources that you cannot see now. Yes, it is very regular that it is out of your box. It is not in your box. If you are in your box and limit your thinking and ideas and changing in your life, in your organization, in your family life, in your social life, and especially now we are talking about in your organization. If you are limit yourself to the present resources, so how can you change your organizations? And achievable. So you should talk about the present, realistic, and achievable And the past part, the last part is appeals to values, emotion, and ideas. Okay, now we can go for 15 minutes to have a quiz, week 7 quiz. And I will be here until the end of this time for having your quiz.